Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. The Research Bureau's annual awards to outstanding municipal employees are appropriately named in memory of Thomas S. Green, who personified integrity, exceptional leadership, and remarkable commitment to voluntary public service on behalf of the City of Worcester. When you think about what characteristics it takes to make ours a strong community, I personally want quality schools, clean and safe neighborhoods, and of course roads that are both snow-free and pothole-free. Coincidentally, this year, the Research Bureau honors 5 employees who have made outstanding contributions to public service working in public schools, public safety, and public works. These awards are made to publicly recognize the efforts of individuals exhibiting the following characteristics: exceptional competence and efficient handling of all assigned responsibilities, a willingness to perform tasks above and beyond the call of duty, friendly, helpful, cooperative attitude toward the public and fellow employees, and truly distinguishing themselves from other employees. In short, these are folks that don't just do their job, they are rock stars, and for that we are eternally grateful. I want to start by thanking our host this evening, Assumption College, and would ask President of Government and Community Relations, Dan DiTullo, to give us a brief greeting.
Thank you. My name is Dan DiTullo. I am the Director of Government and Community Relations here at the college. I'm also a member of the Thomas Green Committee. On behalf of our president, Francesco Cesareo, who's actually on a plane right now, I think on his way to D.C., I just want to welcome everyone here to Assumption College. For anyone who was here with us last year, and in past years, we've gone from the oldest building on campus to the newest building on campus. So I definitely want to welcome people to the recently opened Solstice Family Academic Center and our ballroom, which we're still breaking in, so watch the stains on the carpet because it's on my dime. So especially want to welcome Dan, Rick, Marianne, Stacy, Vicki, your families. Really exemplify what it is to be in public service. I really appreciate that. My father was a public school teacher for 35 years, and my mother worked at Town Hall for 30 years. So I know it's not the easiest job in the world. I know that sometimes you're on the wrong end of a lot of unhappy phone calls, but what you've done for your community is absolutely outstanding. The college is happy to partner with the Research Bureau. We're happy to have them here on our campus where their home office is, and definitely to be able to participate in events like this, which are just tremendous for the Research Bureau, for the city, and actually for the greater Worcester community. So again, I just want to welcome you all. Thank you all for being here this evening and recognize our honorees. And I hope you have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you.
And next, for some brief remarks, it's my pleasure to introduce City Manager Joe Petty.
I got demoted. But no, I'm not kidding. Thank you for having me here today, and want to thank Municipal Research Bureau, Tim McGurthy, and the whole staff, and the Thomas F. Green committee to put this together. This is the most prestigious award, and you should be very happy you're receiving this. And you make us proud. You know, government today, people can be very critical of government, everybody knows, and but you know something? You're the one that makes it a better place. Worcester's a better place because of our 2 awardees here today, Tim Cahill and the Quality of Life team. Tim, wonderful job. You make a big difference here in the city of Worcester, and I see this man on the weekends, during the week, nights, really doing a great job for the city. And Richard, thank you, and thank you for the service, 40 years at the DPW. Especially now in charge of streets, which is a very hard job, a lot of pressure there, and especially if you listen to the city council on Tuesday nights. But doing a great job, and keep it up, and making Worcester better, cleaner place. I know the manager's coming in soon with a plan, talking about cleaner streets, and I'm sure you'll be part of that. And you're married into a good family, the Dakin family. So, but and I also want to congratulate Marianne, I guess, who's the matron of the Grafton Police Department, and good job. Keep up the good work. I want to congratulate Stacy, who's not here, but Chief Salukas is here on our behalf, and and we were saying earlier, someone else was on vacation last year, right, in the same country, Dominica, but, and I know the Slucas family is also a dedicated family. And I loved your father. And he was a tremendous public servant, and up until right at the time of his death. And so congratulations to the Auburn and Vicki. Congratulations to you too, on what you did for vocational tech. And I'm Sheila Harrody's here too, somewhere in the crowd. And mental health is an issue that we've been pushing here in the city of Worcester, and it seems like you're really trying to address it with young people and students at the school. So great job there too. And you know, the sacrifices that people make. The Auburn Police Department, of course, had a huge sacrifice last year, and we don't forget that. People, you know, it really breaks my heart sometimes when people criticize government so easy. You can divide people easy today, but you know something, you all make this place a better place. Our city, your towns, because of all the hard work you do. And I just want to recognize Councilor Sarai Rivera, who's also in the back there. Welcome, Councilor. And Julie Jacobson, former city employee, city manager. But again, congratulations, great job. You should be very proud, and I'm very proud of all of you here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I apologize for the demotion. And now I'd like to welcome City Manager Ed Augustus.
Thank you, Ellen. It was great to become mayor and not have to do any work, but get all the glory. So that's awesome. Well, thank you for having us here, and I'm really happy to be here tonight as we honor Dan, Rick, Marianne, Stacy, and Victoria, 5 outstanding individuals with the Thomas S. Green Public Service Awards. The Thomas Green Award is one of the most prestigious recognitions throughout our city and our region. And as you'll hear tonight, those who have been selected are the best of the best. Individuals who exhibit exceptional competence, enthusiasm, enthusiastic performance, and who embrace the importance of community involvement outside the scope of their job-related tasks. It was once said, to give real service, you must add something which cannot be bought or measured with money, and its sincerity and integrity. Sitting before us tonight are 2 of the finest members of our city family who show up every day, often 6 days a week, not only to do their job, but to make a difference in the lives of those they serve. I'm so proud to recognize Dan Cahill, the team leader of our Quality of Life Task Force, and Rick Cavalieri, Assistant Director of Street Operations for our Department of Public Works and Parks. Rick Cavalieri, who worked for all of the key public works divisions, streets, sewers, water, these are the folks we see out in the elements, literally in the trenches, getting the job done. This makes him an exceptionally well-rounded and extremely versatile employee. His institutional knowledge of DPW operations is truly second to none. But don't take my word for it. Here's how DPW Commissioner Paul Musi described Rick: as one of the most conscientious and dedicated employees of the Department of Public Works. He is renowned for his commitment and sense of duty to the department. Rick frequently goes way above and beyond typical expectations. He has spent the majority of his career continually refining and expanding his knowledge of the department and its various divisions. The fact that he has been promoted numerous times to positions of increasing responsibility only reaffirms his dedication and talent. His DPW career is unique in that he has advanced up the career ladder from an entry-level laborer to a key supervisory position in one of the most challenging divisions, street operations. It's people like Rick who take pride in their job and who enjoy their work that really makes our city shine. He must truly enjoy his work, as he's been at it for over 40 years. Rick, you're a true asset to the city family, and I am very proud of all you've done. And thank you and congratulate you and your family for your many years of dedicated service. And now my good friend, Dan. Nearly 3 years ago, I created the Quality of Life Task Force, an interdepartmental team of seasoned specialists from DPW, Inspectional Services, and the Worcester Police Department. They're selected by myself and their department heads to not only rapidly respond to pressing issues that are affecting the quality of life of our residents, such as illegal dumping, problem properties, nuisance violations, but to assess the city's approach to resolving these nuisance issues by identifying best practices and recommending ordinance changes. Assigned to work out of my office under my chief of staff, the team began to meet weekly. Within a few short weeks, we got to know the team and their skills, and most certainly their personalities. It was obvious that amongst them, we had a true leader. And I think our commander, as he likes to be called, he insists on being called, as a matter of fact, this guy clearly was on top of his game. Triaging calls, developing work plans, dividing the city into sectors, and the work week into designated days of service. What I watched occur over the next several months was truly incredible. This team not only exceeded my expectations in a very short time, but began to create this incredible bond. Danny, Ron, Mike, and Catherine created a synergy that was nothing short of magical. They gelled. There is no task too big and no bell that rings at 5 p.m. They work late hours and often 6 days a week. The results of their efforts are in the numbers. Since the inception under Dan's leadership, the team has completed 3,000 work orders for illegal dumping, collected more than 80 tons of debris, household items, appliances, and mattresses that have been left on city streets, and caught and fined more than 250 individuals, resulting in more than $20,000 in fines. If you will, I'd like to go back to my earlier quote for a moment. To give real service, you must have something which cannot be bought or measured with money, and that's sincerity and integrity. In addition to the above street labor, 2 days a week, the team is joined by our crisis intervention officers who provide outreach and support to the most vulnerable in our community, the homeless, often on the coldest nights of winter. And they do it with the utmost sincerity and integrity, walking miles into the woods where these individuals have established makeshift homes in tents or lean-tos, establishing trust, building relationships, and providing life-changing and life-saving medical support and shelter. Again, all under Dan's leadership. Dan is truly a leader. He goes above and beyond in all he does. His passion for the city is contagious, and his motivation, drive, and desire to get things done is really an inspiration. And his love for our city is evident in all he does in his off-duty time, coaching baseball, volunteering, and the one that gets me the most is last year, along with his girlfriend Samantha, they collected toys and went to the St. John's food pantry to make sure every one of the 150 kids there would get a gift this past Christmas. It is nearly impossible to list the reasons why Dan is such a deserving candidate for this award. But Dan, I'm beyond proud of you. You make our city better. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. As you know, the awards that we award this evening are not just city-specific. The Research Bureau does serve the Worcester region, and we're happy to have 3 honorees this evening from outside the city as well. They all happen to be female as well, not a bad thing. So our next speaker, we'd like to welcome up Grafton Chief of Police Norm Crapo.
Thank you, and I want to wish congratulations to all the awardees this evening. It's quite an honor, I'm sure, for everyone. Mostly I'm here to speak this evening about Marianne DeVries, my assistant, and she's been my assistant now for about 14 years. I came to Grafton 14 years ago from Rhode Island, and I was green in the art of Massachusetts law and Massachusetts finance, amongst other things. And she straightened me out very quickly, and for that I appreciate. Marianne DeVries has worked for the town of Grafton in various capacities since 1997, including the office of town clerk, Grafton Public Schools, and now in her current position as administrative assistant to the police chief. In addition to her current duties, she serves as police matron, as the mayor indicated, and part-time dispatcher, which she took about approximately 10 years ago. In addition to handling her day-to-day responsibilities as assistant to the chief, which includes budget details, payroll, and other various duties, she also processes license to carry applications, which, if anybody has ever dealt with that, can be sometimes trying. People are very particular when they want a license to carry a firearm, and I never realized that before until I came to Massachusetts. But she does it, and she does it all with grace and style. As a police matron, she helps to mitigate potential claims by female prisoners against officers and the police department. It's important to note that while performing her duties in this capacity, Marianne is able to quickly establish rapport with their charges, speaking to them in a calming manner and showing empathy towards their situation, thus helping to alleviate any hostility that there may be, that might have developed toward the arresting officer and the circumstances in general. And we do get some hostile people, and it's amazing. She'll go out there, and it's like that. She can calm people down with her tone, with her mannerisms, and that's quite an art. You can't teach that. You have to have that in your soul, in your heart, and she does it. Marianne is always the first to offer her assistance in extracurricular activities offered by the police department. She has been a driving force behind the National Night Out Block Party, which we do every August. That's a community policing event, which they do have here in Worcester. We're one of the few in the area, along with Worcester, to do this. And it's quite an event to plan and prepare for, and Marianne takes charge with that. She also does several other events that we do throughout the year for community policing to reach out to our citizens in general. She always makes herself available to assist the public and our staff. In many instances, she has come forward to work in the dispatch area when incidents occur that demand all of the on-duty dispatchers' attention. By doing so, she can handle all of the routine matters that present themselves, while the dispatcher on duty can handle the crisis at hand. And sometimes, I won't say it, I never said it, to some frustration, I'll yell across the hallway looking for something, and I can hear the 911 phones ringing, and Marianne, of course, without being asked, without being told, is in dispatch, answering those phones and handling those radio calls. We have one dispatcher, so it's necessary for somebody to go in there, and Marianne is always the first one to be in there helping out. Marianne goes out of her way to ensure the public requests are handled quickly and efficiently, ensuring that every individual receives a satisfactory response to their inquiry. Although her hours are normally 8:30 to 4:30, several times I've come in, or I've wanted to leave, it's after 6 o'clock, and she's still there, either answering the phones, helping dispatch, or speaking with somebody about an issue with their firearms license or solicitor's permit or whatnot. In several occasions, people looking for solicitor's permits or license to carry applications can't come at normal business hours. So she'll stay later, or she'll come in on a Saturday, and I believe she's even coming on Sundays to do this, and not asking for anything in return. She just wants to serve the public and make sure that whatever their needs are, they're fulfilled. Marianne is often called at home with questions from coworkers on several topics. She has never refused to assist fellow employees with their inquiry, even though she's off duty and it's not her obligation to do it, but she does it. And many times, once again, she'll come in to make sure that the matter is resolved, and resolved quickly. She often takes on duties that she could refuse, never complains, and never allows her primary obligations to fall behind. She demonstrates a high degree of integrity, challenge, and drive, and no matter what the circumstances, she always displays a pleasant and cheerful disposition. Not once have I heard her complain in the 14 years that I've been here, especially with the matron duty. You'd have to do it to see how incredible it is sometimes dealing with individuals in the law enforcement field, and Chief Salukas would know. And just like I said, she does it like it's nothing, and that is a talent that cannot be taught. Mary Ann has served on assorted volunteer committees, including the Town Charter Review Board. She has also volunteered her time for charitable organizations such as the Grafton Education Alliance, the Grafton Community Farm, the Grafton Food Bank, and the Greater Grafton Medical Reserve Corps. So with everything she does, she manages to volunteer her time. She also, a few years ago, completed her bachelor's degree, coming part-time at this fine institution here, Assumption College. I would like to thank the Research Bureau for selecting Mary Ann DeVries to receive this prestigious award, recognizing her contribution and outstanding public service to the citizens of Grafton and members of the Grafton Police Department. I can think of no better way to express our appreciation, and I know of no one who is more deserving than Mary Ann DeVries. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce our good friend, Auburn Town Manager Julie Jacobson.
Thank you, Ellen. Good evening. It's an honor to be here today to speak at today's event honoring these distinguished public employees. I want to, first of all, thank the Worcester Regional Research Bureau and the nominating committee for acknowledging the hard work, dedication, and commitment to their communities that are displayed by each of the recipients of this prestigious Thomas S. Green Award. Public service isn't just a job, it's a vocation and it's a calling. And for those of us in public service, we enter this profession because we have a passion for helping others, for improving the quality of life for the residents of our community, and for making a positive difference in the city or town in which we all work. I commend the Research Bureau, its board, and nominating committee for recognizing outstanding municipal employees through the Thomas S. Green Award, and for providing a wonderful opportunity such as this event to publicly thank these distinguished employees and their families for the contribution they make to their municipality. And I want to stress families because we all know you can't do these jobs if your family isn't behind you. They make sacrifices, and those sacrifices involve giving up the days and the nights and the weekends so that you can do your job. So we thank the families as well. Today's recipients personify the quantities that the Thomas S. Green Award embodies: exceptional competence, enthusiastic performance, friendly attitude, service above and beyond, and community involvement. Stacy Fitzgerald, the records clerk in the Auburn Police Department, always goes above and beyond her clerical duties and always performs her job with professionalism and pride, and may I add, a smile. I've never not seen Stacy smiling. She is willing to take on tasks and help others and never ask for anything in return. She's very well liked by members of the Auburn Police Department and her colleagues throughout town administration in every department. On May 22nd, 2016, police officer Ron Tarantino was brutally killed in the line of duty at a routine traffic stop in Auburn. During the hours, days, and weeks that followed this tragic event, the Auburn Police Department was inundated with well-wishers, prayers, and donations. Stacy took on many additional responsibilities during that time, involving the public response to Officer Tarantino's death, including speaking with residents and others who contacted the station and didn't know what to do and how to help. She did this with pride and respect, not just for Officer Tarantino, but for all the members of the department who were profoundly affected by his murder. Stacy also volunteers her time, when she has spare time, to work with the Auburn Police Department Association to support their Secret Santa program, which collects donations, purchases toys, and delivers them to families and children in need in Auburn. She works collaboratively with the Auburn Public Schools and Auburn Youth and Family Services to identify the disadvantaged families, and then she volunteers countless hours to shop for gifts for these families to ensure that they too can have a special holiday. Dedicated municipal employees like Stacy, Dan, Rick, Marianne, and Victoria, and past recipients of the Thomas Green Award are the backbone of their department's operations. As city and town managers, mayors, school superintendents, we are grateful for the dedication and hard work and pleased for the opportunity to publicly thank them. Their department heads, the police chiefs, DPW directors, principals, they rely heavily on these employees to effectively carry out their assignments and interact with their colleagues and the public in a positive, helpful manner. So I want to congratulate each of today's award recipients for the exceptional level of service that you provide to your communities, and to let you know we're all proud of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. And our next speaker, we're pleased to welcome back to Worcester, Superintendent Sheila Harity from Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical High School.
Good evening. How's everybody? Great. It's wonderful to be here. When we actually received the nomination package out at Monty Tech, being a resident of Worcester my whole life, I was thrilled to know that the Research Bureau actually had expanded this incredible award recognition for other towns to be involved. This is like the Oscars, as I explained to Vicki, for municipal workers, and I think it's so important that municipal workers get recognized because they're in the trenches every day, fighting the good fight and really making our citizens and our quality of life in our communities exceptional. And so when I met with Principal Brown to discuss it, we immediately said, we know the perfect person. And I'm so happy that the selection committee selected Vicki Zarazinski from Monty Tech. She's our Director of Guidance and Student Support Services at Monty Tech. And I'm also very happy and proud to hear of the incredible work the other recipients have and are getting acknowledged for this evening. Again, congratulations. A little bit about Vicki. I know that you're also going to do a formal introduction of her. But Vicki is so highly respected, as I can see even tonight with the support that she receives with 2 rows of faculty and staff from Monty Tech coming to support Vicki in her recognition this evening. I think it's wonderful. Vicki also does a lot of work not only at Monty Tech but at the state level. She actually is the chair for MAVA, the Massachusetts Association of Vocational Administrators. She's the chair of the Director of Guidance and Student Supports for the entire vocational system, where they meet on a monthly basis. And Vicki shares our best practices, not only at Monty Tech, but with the other vocational schools as well. She's extremely active in the SHINE initiative. Her and Paul Richards work so wonderfully together. And actually in 2014, Vicki was recognized herself and Monty Tech as the outstanding contributions to the SHINE initiative to help support students with social and emotional issues and really help promote mental health awareness, which was incredible. But back at home at Monty Tech, you know, Vicki is our biggest cheerleader. You know, when I met Vicki, one of the things that will stand in my mind, in my heart forever, is she's an advocate for all students and staff, that she will continue to support the students and their families so that they are successful with their 4 years at Monty Tech, but in addition, that there is a wonderful working environment for our staff as well at Monty Tech. She actually came to the principal and myself last year and wanted to actually start a STAY program where our students that were struggling with social and emotional issues, many times when they're released from their treatment centers, it's either full-time, there's no part-time treatment, and then you're supposed to be expected to come back to school full-time. And Vicki knew many of our students were staying home because they couldn't handle the full schedule. So she actually created a program with the guidance department to be able to support the students to come back to Monty Tech. And when they're struggling during the day, there's a STAY program with a counselor there that the student can continue their work, but in a very comfortable setting, receive additional guidance and support and additional counseling that's needed so that they can return back into the class. There's so many things that Vicki does day in, day out. Yesterday, Vicki was in jeans and sneakers, actually. I don't know what that is a sign of. Tim, okay, I'll wrap it up. But, you know, from Vicki, from running incredible programs for our faculty and students to wearing jeans and sneakers yesterday, where we partnered with United Way to run an event called Combat for Hunger, where the students, 150 students at Monty Tech with staff, volunteered to prepare 22,242 meals to give to the food banks in all of North Central Mass. And Vicki Zarazinski spearheaded that. I could go on, but I know there's someone else going to come up that's going to speak additionally to Vicki. But huge shout out to you, Vicki, for everything that you do for our students and staff. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheila. So I think we can all agree the committee did a pretty good job this year with our nominees. Before we get into the meat of the program, we would like to recognize others who are in attendance. And so if there's any legislators and government officials, we'd ask you to just please stand and be recognized. Or not. And if there are any past Green Awards recipients in the audience, we'd ask you to stand up and be recognized. Members of the Bureau's Board of Directors, stand and be recognized. And Tim McGurthy, our Executive Director of the Research Bureau. Additionally, I'd like to recognize my fellow colleagues on the committee who chose these fabulous 5 individuals. Dan DiTullo, our host, Bob Kennedy, Stu Loosemore, Karen Luddington, Mary Jo Marion, Tim, Joanne O'Leary, Paul Provost, Todd Rodman, Roberta Schaefer, and Hank Stoltz. Thank you for your efforts. We'd also like to recognize the sponsors without who this event wouldn't take place, in particular our host, Assumption College. The balance of them are listed in your program. They all contributed to the gift baskets that the honorees will be receiving shortly, so thank you very much to all of them. And would like to acknowledge that the honorees are also receiving Senate citations from Senate President Harriet Chandler and Senator Michael Moore, as well as citation from Massachusetts House of Representative John Mahoney. So we thank them for their support. I would point out that the City of Worcester's government channel is taping this evening's ceremony. So if you accidentally call the mayor, the manager, or you trip coming up to the podium or the flag falls down, you can watch it later on the city website as well as the Research Bureau's website. So we thank them for their support as well. But without further ado, we'll get into the introduction of our honorees. First up, we're going to have Roberta Schaefer, who will introduce Dan Cahill.
Thank you very much. It's very nice to be back here, and I don't remember that ever falling on my watch. So, but the city manager did such a great job of talking about Dan that I think I don't want to repeat what he said because I have a lot of the same information in there. So just let me say, it's really a pleasure to introduce Dan, the leader of the Quality of Life team since its inception almost 3 years ago. The manager told you all about it and gave you the metrics on what they've accomplished. So I just wanted to add a few things at this point. The manager mentioned Dan's work with the homeless, that they go out. Dan told me only 1 day a week, but the manager said 2, so you guys are going to have to work it out. But in doing that, I mean, they go to all the homeless encampments and try to establish a relationship with homeless people to let them know what services are available and to try to encourage them to take advantage of the kind of medical care that would be available and what kind of shelters they can get into so that they don't have to, be on the streets in these encampments. And they make the effort to go out on cold nights and get the people who are out there into shelters. And the manager actually did not mention this in particular, but in his nomination form, he talked about 2 instances where Dan and his team saved the lives of 2 homeless men, one who had hypothermia and frostbite, and the other was near death due to a diabetic reaction and substance abuse. Dan and his team got them to emergency medical care, and they both survived. So I think you can see that this is a team that's really doing God's work. I would be remiss, however, if I didn't also mention that Dan's current assignment is far from the first with the city. He began his employment way back in 1998, 20 years ago, when he was still in high school and worked summers for DPW. And then after that, after he graduated from college, he held various positions in the Inspectional Services Department for 13 years before being tapped to head the Quality of Life Task Force. I'd just like to add one more thing from one of the people who supported this recommendation, Dr. Maddie Castile, who's the city's Commissioner of Health and Human Services. And I quote, "Dan is an amazing leader who inspires his team and brings out the best in everyone. His compassion and love for what he does is palpable. He rallies people together for a common cause and is committed to helping others. He jumps into new assignments with enthusiasm. He and his team can be found working on cold nights, finding the homeless, and getting them into shelters." End quote. It is apparent that Dan's dedication and commitment have had a real impact on our community. I had the privilege of knowing Tom Green before he passed away, and I'm sure that he would have approved of giving this award to Dan. It is really my honor to invite Dan to come to the stage, to the podium. And I'm going to leave this with you or take it back to the seat.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Roberta and Mr. Manager, for the amazing introduction. This is such a great honor to be standing here tonight. I'd like to take a moment to congratulate Stacy, Marianne, Vicky, and Rick, who I've actually had the opportunity to work several years with in the city snow program. Well-deserved. Thank you for your service. I'd also like to thank the Research Bureau, the Selection Committee, and Tim McGurthy for recognizing me this evening. Public service has been my calling for as long as I can remember. For the past 19 years, I have been fortunate enough to serve the citizens of Worcester in a variety of ways. I started after high school cleaning the old Beaverbrook pool, and continued as a temporary employee throughout my college years, removing graffiti, cleaning vacant lots, and picking up garbage on the side of the road. In June of 2005, my boss at the time, Donnie Abraham, called me into his office and asked how my job search was going. I was honest and said it wasn't. He mentioned to me about a job at the housing division at Inspectional Services. I thought I should go for it. There was one problem, though. My father was the chief of the division. I wasn't sure if I wanted to work for my dad. I mean, I love him, don't get me wrong, but I thought it was time to branch out. I ended up interviewing with Joe DeGillis and accepted the job. I couldn't report directly to my father, but some of the rides to and from work were memories I'll never forget. For instance, on the first day we got out of the car, he told me, "Whatever stories you hear about me, go along with them." My father was a tall former Marine with a deep voice, and when he spoke, people listened. Everyone assumed he acted at home like he did at work. He didn't. But I did my best to let everyone think that way. Dad retired a few years after I started my full-time gig, but the amount I learned from him in those years was invaluable. I have continued to work in various positions in the Housing and Nuisance divisions. The Quality of Life Task Force was formed in September of 2015 by our great city manager to not just put a Band-Aid on issues affecting the city, but to focus on changing and improving the quality of life for all Worcester residents. The incredible team I have had the opportunity to work with focus on issues such as homelessness and urban blight. We rapidly respond to and proactively patrol all areas in the city. It is an interdepartmental team made up of Worcester Police, Public Works, Inspectional Services, and our homeless coordinator. This sounds familiar, but I swear we didn't check notes here. The team that the manager and his chief of staff, Nicole Valentine, put together could not have been any better. While I may be the one receiving this prestigious award, I do not do it alone. There's no I in team. I would not be standing here without the help of many amazing teammates and mentors throughout the city. There are many people I would like to recognize and thank for helping me along this incredible journey. City Manager Augustus and Nicole Valentine, thank you for believing in me to lead this team and having the vision to put it together. Your love for the city is second to none. Your passion is contagious and really keeps us going on a daily basis. That's evident by the 6 a.m. texts and emails I get sometimes. To the Department of Inspectional Services Administration, John Kelly, Amanda Wilson, Nancy Moses, as well as the entire Housing Division, led by Chiefs Lee Hall and Phil Salmon, thank you. You've always been there for me, willing to help out in any way. Your expert knowledge and tutelage goes a long way. I also appreciate you just being there for me to have a conversation or share a joke to lighten the mood. Dr. Maddie Castile, Your passion for helping others and incredibly caring demeanor has rubbed off on me more than you know. Seeing you walk through the woods in some extreme conditions is a true leader by example. To the mayor and members of council, it is a pleasure serving you and your constituents' needs. We always try to go above and beyond when any of you reach out to us, and every one of you are always so gracious. To the Worcester Police Department's neighborhood response team and the many neighborhood crime watch meetings that I attend, keep up the good work in sending us problem properties our way. A special thank you to Casey Starr and Ellie Gilmore of the Shepherd King and Pack Crime Watches, as well as Councilor Rivera, who was always by my side at the meetings. Mom, Dad, Kara, Paul, you mean the world to me. Being the youngest child, I have learned so much from all of you. Thank you for instilling in me a strong work ethic and the meaning of being kind to others. My one-of-a-kind partner, Samantha McShane, you are the hardest worker I ever met. Not a day goes by without me learning something from you. You are my rock. Thank you for being at my side every step of the way and not blinking an eye if I have to work in a blizzard or get called out in the middle of the night to try to get someone into shelter. Last but certainly not least, the past and present members of the Quality of Life team. Officers Mike Girardi, who couldn't be here tonight due to a prior coaching commitment, as the manager mentioned. CIT officers Angel Rivera and Walter Duffy, as well as police officer Jim Hodgeny. Catherine Colano, our city's homeless coordinator. DPW employee Joe Simone. Former Thomas Green Award winner Ron Brown. Over the last 2.5 years, we have grown into what I consider the best team ever assembled. We've become more than just co-workers, we are a family. There isn't a group of people I'd rather be on this ride than with you. Not only do we share the same passion for helping people, helping others and improving people's lives, we are always there for each other. Whether it's volunteering at bingo or attending a fundraiser for someone in need, we never say no. That is rare in this day and age, and I will cherish those friendships I've formed with each and every one of you forever. Enjoy the night, but the show goes on. We have outreach in the morning. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Dan. Next up, I'd like to invite Hank Stoltz to come up to present the honoree, or discuss Richard Cavallari from Worcester DPW.
Well, as has been noted this evening, the Thomas S. Green Awards are indeed prestigious awards, and this class of 2018 is truly something special and takes their place of honor among the many other honorees. And that is why tonight, when you go home, you have been sitting on the couch and you are nice and warm and comfortable, and you get up and you flush, I want you to think of our next award recipient, Rick Cavallari. Oh, I mean it. I mean it. I spent some time speaking with him. This is something that he is inordinately proud of. You see, Rick and his whole crew, and as to a man, everybody that I ever talked to as a Thomas S. Green Award recipient has talked about the fact that it is a team effort. And Rick was no different. So Rick and his whole crew, 90 plus, they make sure that all the things that we take for granted right here in the city are running smooth. And let me tell you, I'm not going to belabor this particular point, but in a city of almost 200,000, it's a lot of flushes. And we don't have to think about it. We expect there to be drinkable water. We expect our streets to be plowed. We expect all of these things, your leaves to be cleaned up. All of that, all these things that we never think of is because Rick is thinking of them each and every day and making sure that they're getting taken care of with his team. 40 years, as was noted. 40 years is a long time. In this day and age, 4 months is a long time for some people at a job before they're moving on and going somewhere else. So 40 years that Rick has been collecting a paycheck from the city of Worcester. And that is significant. When Rick began 40 years ago, he talked about the guys that he began with, the people who were in the department, people who were from the greatest generation, World War II, Korean War veterans, and the real work ethic that they had. I think that was a work ethic that has clearly been handed down in the work that is being done here in the city and in the DPW in particular. And it's a work ethic that Rick is a true living example of, and that he continues to embody each day and to pass down to a new generation. We also take note and thank Rick for his own service to this country, through his military service and through your long involvement with the National Guard. Thank you for that service. He loves the fact that he works for the city of Worcester, that he has lived on Grafton Hill, that he continues to live on Grafton Hill and be part of the city, that making sure that things run the best that they can and are taken care of, that pride in his job is very personal for Rick, because this is his city. So 40 years, and in that time, Rick has held every key position in streets, some that have some fancy titles, some that didn't. Streets, sewer, and water. It's truly unique. And in that 40 years, Rick has seen some up and downs. I don't know if any of you remember this, but apparently over the last 40 years, there have been some tough budget times in the city of Worcester. And through it all, Rick showed up, ready to work with the attitude that he wanted to work, that he wanted to work for the city, and that he wanted to do his part to make the city a better place. And I'll give you an example. So I went to the DPW to meet with Rick and to find out more about the job that he does. And this was just last week, so spring had not yet arrived. And that morning, he was just coming off of having gotten some crews to get off of street sweeping, because the calendar said that you ought to be street sweeping, but the snow that was coming down and in the air said something different. So in the neighborhood, this is what I mean about things that we just take for granted. So up around the airport, in that neighborhood, because there was snow in the air, although it was melting downtown, in the higher elevation, the road surface was about 31 degrees. So you don't think about that. I don't think about that. I'll tell you when you think about it, when you're sliding down past the airport because somebody didn't switch from sweeping to sanding. That's when you would think about it. But we didn't have to think about it that day because Rick already had taken care of that. He had already switched up those crews, and that, again, is just really what that whole team of folks does. So it's really that sense of duty that Rick has that allows us to go about our business. It means that every day when he shows up to work, he says, there's a certain sameness to it, but you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know that, in late April it's suddenly going to be cold out, and you're going to have to make sure that you shift gears and change those priorities. So the priorities remain the same: the trash pickup, the street cleaning, maintaining the surfaces, plowing, the ballet of snow removal. I will now always think of it. I will think of you as the Bob Fosse of snow plowing and the choreography of these 400 pieces. Before I just thought of that so-and-so who was plowing me in. Now I will think of, well, no, I will still think of that so-and-so who was plowing me in, but I will appreciate him more. You spoke, Dan, just a moment ago about, and the city manager had about battling this illegal dumping. I know that is such a huge priority now and something that all of you are involved in as a team. And again, all of this being done on our behalf each day, being done with the utmost professionalism and dedication. So, as with every award recipient I've had the honor of ever speaking with, again, Rick just makes sure that it is about the team. But there's another part of that team, too, and you touched on it just a moment ago, and that is that when you're getting up, because you guys do work all hours and all days, when you're getting up at 2 a.m., I would assume that there are some in this room who would say, "That's great, honey. Have fun." There are others, such as your significant other, who get up and make lunch and dinner and make sure that on your way out the door, because you may not be seen for a couple of days, that you're well taken care of. So that is a big part of the team as well. There is one other member of the team that you mentioned, and that is Worcester City Manager Ed Augustus. And Rick said that under this administration, that the sense of teamwork is greater than ever, that this administration understands the funds that are needed, the equipment that needs to be updated, and that this administration comes and visits the DPW to see things firsthand and has their back. So one other big thank you, actually, that Rick had, too, that I should mention: customer service. See, not everybody understands the choreography of the 400 plows that are out there, so he did want to give a shout out to customer service, just because every once in a while not all of us are as grateful as perhaps we should be at the job that is being done on snow removal. Some storms, I guess there's even as many as 2 or 3 people who call up to complain. To be fair, I believe there are legitimately 2 or 3 people who call up to say, nice job. So they do get their compliments as well. Oh, I do have one last thing that you did mention, and that is that the DPW is hiring. He wanted you all to know that. See Rick after he gets his award. So ladies and gentlemen, Thomas S. Green Award recipient, Rick Cavallari.
Wow, how do I beat that one? Is that really me? Thank you, Hank, for that amazing introduction. It's an honor and a privilege for me to receive the Thomas S. Green Public Service Award. I would like to thank the Worcester Regional Research Bureau for all the work they do with a nonpartisan approach. I can tell you the city of Worcester is a better place because of you folks. Thank you to Assumption College for your continued support to our community in hosting this event. Thank you, Mayor Petty, for always supporting the Department of Public Works and Parks. Thank you. Thank you, City Manager Ed Augustus, for your leadership. You provide us on a daily basis. We, the DPW&P, appreciate all the new equipment you allowed us to purchase. Because of it, I believe we have a successful liquid anti-icing program in the city. We are able to apply 303 lane miles of liquid de-icer because of it. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Paul Musi, for nominating me for this award. Thank you for your leadership. Much appreciated for your support. Assistant Commissioner Labovitis, Matt, thank you for believing me over the years as a member of your team. Thank you. Director Kempton, Jim, thank you for day in and day out guidance and support with sanitation, traffic maintenance, and street operations. Thank you. The Department of Public Works is always there for us. It's all around us. We are always called upon, and we deliver from start to finish. From trash removal to illegal dumping, salting and sanding, to snow removal, plowing over 514 miles of roadways, very difficult task, sweeping streets to paving streets and sidewalks, 200 complex traffic control signaled intersections, a very complex system to keep running. 6 reservoirs, daily filtering millions of gallons of safe, clean drinking water delivered from 8 complex pumping stations to over 650 miles of water mains. Think about that, 650 miles of water mains. Maintaining 765 miles of sewer drains and sewer pipes to 15,751 catch basins, to 34,466 manholes and drains, 30 sewer pumping stations, 60 parks, Hope Cemetery, and Green Hill golf course. We have many dedicated employees ensuring these vital services, and many others are operational 365 days per year. So these dedicated folks, I am entirely grateful. If not for them, I could not accomplish the daily mission. None of us could. so the credit belongs to many of them. The Department of Public Works is always there, always on the move. Collectively, we make it happen. It is a great honor and humility I received this award. My congratulations to fellow recipients Dan, Mary Ann, Stacy, Victoria. A special thanks to my family for supporting me, continued support. Thank you all.
Congratulations. Next up, we invite Paul Provost for an introduction of Marianne DeVries from the Grafton Police Department.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Paul Provost. I'm the publisher of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. I'm humbled to be a part of tonight's ceremony, honoring the hardworking and most unsung heroes of public service with the Thomas S. Green Award. I'd like to thank Tim McGurthy for his leadership at the Research Bureau and Eric Nealon for helping us put this event on this evening. Thanks to Assumption College for this beautiful new space. Those of us that have been on the committee for a little while might have been at the other building waiting and looking, so I apologize for being a little bit late. That's where I was. I found a lab down there that I was, pretty much intrigued with, so I stopped in and asked them some things about the class. But tonight I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Marianne DeVries from the town of Grafton. She's worked for the town for many years. Ask her, she won't be able to tell you exactly how many years. And for the last 19 plus years, she has been the administrative assistant for 4 chiefs of police. She is tireless, relentless, and must be challenged. For example, prior to landing at the PD, Marianne lasted a year at the town clerk's office as it just didn't have enough challenges for her. Of course, challenge is relative to the person who holds the description. Challenge is to meet the expectations of the chief. That's not her words, those are mine. But to do it with the utmost respect. She manages the finances of the department, which we discovered together the drinking water cooler is of a different company, not the local one, so we made an effort to ensure that Polar's going to end up in the Grafton Police Department. Likely saving the company and the town a little bit of money as well. That fee will not be passed along to you. I did that gratis. She may as well be the HR coordinator as she answers questions tied to personnel, payroll, and health insurance. She fills in at the dispatch desk as the chief outlined earlier. Processes the firearms application, which takes up a majority of her time from a town of 18,000. So from jumping into dispatch and also showing the cells that I didn't top into, she plays the intermediary with officers and female employees. So that's being challenged, according to Marianne. But she loves it. And that's evident when I visited the station. She's a tremendous energy and drive to accomplish more. She even works part-time, after all of that, to save money to pursue her master's degree or MBA. Why? When I asked her, for no other reason other than she enjoys school. She's one of 7 children, having grown up in Natick, married to Joe. They have 2 children together, who they've raised in Grafton. This entire side was intended for her army of fans, and every town would be lucky to have someone even half as dedicated as Marianne Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce her this evening. Mary Ann, congratulations on this honor, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Paul, for that introduction. I am honored to be a recipient of the Thomas S. Green Award tonight. I want to thank the Research Bureau for giving me this award, also for Chief Crapo for nominating me. I also want to thank the other recipients, Rick, Dan, Stacy, and Vicki. Well-deserved to all of you. I want to say that I'm very lucky to work for the police department. I work with dedicated professionals, the police officers, dispatchers, who come to work every day and they're prepared to work. They're prepared to deal with any public safety crisis that may happen. Every day is a challenge working for the police department. Every call that comes in is different, but each call is handled with competence and integrity. I'm fortunate that Chief Crapo and Tim McInerney, the town administrator, allows me to volunteer. They promote volunteerism. And I just want to give a shout out to some of the voluntary activities that I do participate in. The National Night Out was introduced to Grafton when Chief Crapo came here. It's a free event. It's very successful. It takes a lot of work. Chief Crapo was behind all of that. He makes it a huge success. The Community Harvest Project that I volunteer for, it provides vegetables and fruit to the Worcester County Food Bank. Also to the community servings in Jamaica Plain, who prepares meals for chronic individuals who cannot take care of themselves. Also the Toys for Tots, the Grafton Police Alliance, which is members of the Grafton Police Department. They started last year a Toys for Tots campaign, and we were able to collect 1,500 toys to be donated to families in Worcester County. So basically, I work as a team. Everyone at the police department works very hard. And I want to thank again the Research Bureau for giving me this award. I'm so honored. I want to thank my family for being here, friends, co-workers, previous recipients of the award. And it's just an honor to be part of this. Thank you.
Our next recipient is actually enjoying her nephew's wedding in the Dominican Republic. However, we're going to have, Bob Kennedy come up and tell you a little bit about Stacey Fischel from the Auburn Police Department, and we're honored to have Chief Andy Slukas here to accept on her behalf. But Bob?
Thank you very much, Ellen. As a member of this committee, well, first of all, I was asked to join this committee about 10 years ago, when I first became director of Mechanics Hall. I thought, oh, do I really want to do this? But every year at this time, I get uplifted because I hear stories of people just like you and me who go out of their way to be nice in difficult times. And that is a characteristic of people from the United States that is not universal in the world. I think it is important that we recognize public servants. We don't need to drain the swamp of public servants. We need to celebrate public service as a way to keep our America strong. I know that's mixing some metaphors, but I think that it is important that we recognize people who are giving of themselves and above and beyond themselves. And that characterizes Stacy Fitzgerald. She is a clerk. That's her title. She's a clerk. But she answers the phone, she answers the emergencies at the Auburn Police Department. A lot of the guys in Auburn, the guys and women in Auburn were on the Lester force. Some of them I taught in school. The only thing I miss about them not being in Lester is at 2 in the morning when I get stopped by the policeman who says, "You all right? Why are you out so late?" But I haven't been drinking. Officer, Mr. Kennedy, would you get home, please? But the fact is that the Lester force is like the Auburn force. It's part of the town. It's part of the fabric of my being. I've lived in Leicester. My family has lived in Leicester for 160 years, and we've known all the members of the police department. I knew the members of the Auburn Police Department when Leicester resident Ron Tarantino was taken down a couple years ago. That scar will never heal. And probably it shouldn't heal because it brought the town of Leicester together, the town of Auburn together, and a recognition, a tragic recognition, that public service sometimes has its costs. Now, I'd like to ask Chief, oh my God, Chief Slucas, Andy, to come up and accept the reward and maybe make a few comments about Stacy.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. When Bob called me about coming and accepting the award, I agreed, but he made no mention of a speech. So with that being said, it's an honor to be here. I want to thank the committee. On behalf of Stacy, I'd like to also congratulate all of the recipients. Some of the stories that I heard here today were pretty impressive, and Stacy fits right in that category. Marianne, you're going to love working in Auburn when I steal you from Norm Crapo. It's an unbelievable place to work, so much better than Grafton. Sorry, Norm. But you know, like she said, she's been through 4 police chiefs in 19 years. I am on year 14 of being the police chief in Auburn, and that's because the average police chief nationally lasts 3 to 5 years. That's it, not just here in Mass, across the country. But it's because of the people that work for me. That's how I've been able to stay there and do this job as long as I have. And it's people like Stacy. She's just one of those people that does so many behind the scenes things that she never wants to take credit for. She never wants to be recognized. We had a lot of fundraisers after Ron was killed. She set up a lot of those. I see Hank Stoltz here. Well, one of the fundraisers we had was a charity softball game. Has anyone ever seen his curveball? Because he was playing as one of the celebrity guests for the tournament. And thank you again, Hank. That was awesome of you. But she sets up things like that. You know, I have a female lieutenant that works for me. Her name is Eileen Harrigan. And when the job that Stacy ended up interviewing for became available, I asked Eileen if she would sit down with me and interview the potential candidates. And she said sure, so we set up 8 different interviews. And when we interviewed the candidate before Stacy, we said, okay, we found who we want. And we said, let's roll through this next interview and get the heck out of here. So Stacy came in and she interviewed, and she left, and Eileen walked her outside, and when she came back in, Eileen looked at me and she said, "Now what the hell are we gonna do?" And I said, "I don't know. I was thinking the exact same thing. I was sold on the previous candidate that had left just before Stacy, and Eileen was too." So we kicked it around for a while, and we ultimately selected Stacy. And out of all the people that I've hired over the years, she's one of the most honest, down-to-earth, kind people that I've ever had the pleasure of hiring. I wish she was here today so that you folks could meet her. She would fit right in with the other great recipients. She was very, very humbled to win this award. We didn't mention anything about nominating her, and then she received a phone call saying that she was nominated and subsequently won the award. But she was very, very happy. And I'd once again just like to say, on her behalf, thank you so much for choosing her. It was a great selection, and she is very deserving. Thank you very much.
Last but certainly not least, it's my pleasure to introduce Karen Luddington for an introduction of Vicki Zarazinski.
Thank you all very much for being here today. It's great to see you all, and I know you're hungry. So that's a problem, because I have so much to say about Vicki that you may wait till breakfast. I'm very honored to introduce an amazing woman today who makes a positive difference in the lives of young people every single day. Victoria Zarazinski is the Director of Student Support Services and Special Education at Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School in Fitchburg. That's really at least 2 jobs if you listen closely to that title. And as far as I can tell, she does them with tremendous dedication, enthusiasm, energy, and intelligence. When I read the nomination papers for Vicki as a member of the committee, there was never a doubt in my mind that she would be chosen. And I hoped from the start that I would get to meet her and that I would be the one to present her to you today. Thomas Brown, her principal, who nominated Vicki with the support of the superintendent, said, "I have not experienced a more effective educator in all facets of the job than Victoria Zarazinski." That's a high compliment. In addition to supporting the students at Monty Tech every single day, her list of specific accomplishments, and this is a partial list, is inspiring. She created the STAY program that the superintendent told you about, supporting transitions for at-risk youth. There are serious challenges for kids who are out of school for extensive periods of time for health or mental health or whatever reasons, and she's created this 4-step program to get them back safely and as comfortably as it can possibly be for them. She helps organize and run the Ride for Life, a fundraiser for the North Central Suicide Prevention Coalition. She created a large-scale project to fight the stigma of mental health problems, and it was Vicki, with her staff and her students, who inspired the SHINE initiative to create SWAT, which is the Student Wellness Advisory Teams. Those teams are currently in 15 schools, and I read that there are 15 more coming, which is pretty impressive. She hosted May is Mental Health Month community forums since 2014. Her department won the Community Hero Award from the SHINE initiative. Paul Richard, the executive director of SHINE, who's here today, wrote a long letter to the Thomas Green Committee, and he mentioned the students he'd met and Vicki's impact on these students, which was huge. Vicki responds to family emergencies of Monty Tech students, events like house fires, and she started a student assistance fund. She really is on duty for her kids 24/7. Vicki worked to get private funding to support music therapy and art therapy and yoga programs that benefit Monty Tech students and especially benefit the students who struggle with mental health or other issues, but those programs are good for all. And you know, because you live in the same society I do, that those are things that are not as supported these days with public funds. Vicki got those funds privately. Vicki is not only a leader in her own school, as the superintendent told you, but she chairs a statewide group of professionals like herself, a mark of great respect that they have for her. And she's also a leader in another Massachusetts group for special education. In addition to all this, Vicki is a proud wife and mother of 2. Now, I will say I question her little kid's choice today to go to Peter Pan rather than to come here, but you know, they're kids. And she does so much more, but there's no time to tell you everything. You have to see her at school, though, to feel the impact she has on her students and her colleagues. She absolutely glowed, and I mean that word, when she showed me around Monty Tech. The state classroom, the auto body shop, the auto repair shop, the woodworking shop. She knew the kids, and they knew her, and she was so proud of them. Her enthusiasm spreads like warm sunshine. It was a joy to feel. Paul Richard talked about the students he met, and he said, "I have no doubt their futures are brighter, healthier, and more hopeful because of the dedicated efforts of Vicki Zarazinski." Excuse me. But when I remarked to her about all the great work she does, Vicki gave the credit to her staff, her team. She said something that has stuck with me and which, as an employer and a manager myself, I am really going to use, I think. She said, "You surround yourself with awesome." I'm very sure that everyone who works with Vicki will tell you that the person at the center of all that is the awesomest of all. I'm very pleased and proud to present a 2018 Thomas S. Green Award to Vicki Zarazinski and to introduce her to you as one of my new heroes. Thank you.
I said, no worries. When I met my husband, I asked him about 5 times how to say his name as well. So it took me a while. Well, thank you, Karen and Dr. Harity. You hear so much about yourself that you don't anticipate hearing, and you wonder who they're talking about. So it's a privilege to hear those kind words and know that really that I'm standing here tonight with the amount of respect and kind of taking a step back and looking at myself thinking, how do I manage all that? It's an honor and privilege to be here tonight, surrounded by greatness, and identified as part of the legacy of Thomas S. Green. Being a pioneer for the recipients in North Central Massachusetts, it adds to the magnitude of this honor and contributes to the pride that I feel. To win an award of this enormity for the work I do truly does warm my heart. As a municipal worker who's dedicated my life to special education, mental health, wellness, you knew that you're going into the field that the awards would be few and far between, but the rewards would be plentiful. So with a passion for helping others, I really set out in my profession and my journey to help others. I've had many pivotal moments, and as we talk about the relationships that we build, the teams that we have, they've defined the path that I've chosen and really impacted the decisions I've made. So surrounding myself with excellence and awesome, it's an awesome showing for my team tonight, thank you. I've really surrounded myself in building those relationships and the path I've chosen. They've impacted my decisions and really led me to be a better person standing before you today. But this journey has been one that I've not endured alone. Many people that I worked in partnership with deserve this recognition right along with me. It's with this in mind, I'd like to take this opportunity and recognize those that have shared the voyage, supported my vision, helped me become the person you see standing here tonight. First, I'd like to thank Dr. Harity, Superintendent, Tom Brown, Principal, both from Monty Tech. Thank you. You guys are a great team to work with, collaborate with. I don't know if you guys know about Monty Tech, 18 cities and towns, spans North Central Massachusetts, allows us a captive audience to really teach and empower them to change the world. And when we work with youth, that's exactly how I view it. I want to thank and also recognize Paul Richard from the Shine Initiative, Executive Director of the Shine Initiative here tonight. He wrote a letter of support as well. He's been a great partner, and I have to recognize that truly it was his partnership in coming to Monty Tech that allowed us to give the students and I call them our children, the voice in changing the world.
I'm gonna catch up to where I am in my speech because I promised I'd do well. I also have to thank them for the most tremendous letters of recommendation and support I think I've ever had in the history of my career. When you get handed the letters that they wrote, holy smokes, brought tears to my eyes. Those are those moments that you sit back and you say, you guys do an excellent job of writing letters. Additionally, I'd like to thank the board and the members here tonight for making this opportunity happen. As I said, when you go into these career pathways, you don't think awards are coming. So by all means, I didn't know I was nominated for this award. And I came back and found out not only was I nominated, but selected. It was quite a surprise. And then she called it the Oscars. The pressure was on. I'd like to thank my valuable frontline and staff encompassing the administrative assistants, the counselors, the teachers, paras, many of which are here tonight. You get the job done, you create opportunities for young adults, you always make me look good, let's face it, and you have inspired me to be a better person. To Sharon Fosher and Donna Simone, they were my consultants, now friends. They really helped me navigate some uncharted territory and develop strong programming. This is also for you tonight. I also have to credit my good friend, fellow special educator, grad school roommate, Tierney Leary, who's with us tonight. There was a pivotal moment in my life, and it was because Chelsea Public Schools was calling her for an interview, but she had already accepted a job. So she's on the phone and she says, "But hold on, I have a highly qualified roommate that would be happy to talk to you," and handed me the phone. That pivotal moment for me really set up how I got into ed reform, urban education. So you never know when those opportunities are coming or what you look like on the phone when you just grab it. So thank you, Tierney, for setting that pivotal moment and pathway for me. And most importantly, to my family, my husband, Chris, my daughters who are at the theater tonight watching Peter Pan, and my mom, Kathy, also here with us tonight. Your endless devotion, love, and understanding allow me to shine. I do have to credit Chris as the real reason why I'm here tonight. He went to WPI, UMass Medical, Worcester-based, and really brought me to the area. So you can credit him at the end of the night. Their support is tremendous, and there are no words that can express what that means to me. To all the folks that took time out of their busy lives to come out tonight, celebrate us, thank you. We have some great accomplishments, but we share those with you, and I appreciate you being here. In closing, I'd like to congratulate my fellow award recipients. We really are greatness, so congratulations on making that rank. I'd like to thank Karen. I'd like to thank the Research Bureau and the committee. Your commitment to really recognize excellence and cultivate a culture that highlights unsung heroes and municipalities is tremendous, and something that when you pick our career pathways, you'd never believe is going to happen. So thank you. I'm extremely proud, and I appreciate the opportunity to be one of 2018 recipient of the Thomas S. Green Award.
So that concludes our program. I just want to personally congratulate and thank all of our honorees. You're absolutely amazing people, and it's an honor and privilege for me to be part of this. Would encourage everyone to stay and enjoy some late refreshments and autographs from our honorees. But thank you all for coming.